A lot of the beef of Mecca and Medina is because Mecca wrote down things and they did not allow Medina to edit with them. I'm being harsh on both sides, right? Mecca was very like, oh, we wrote it right. You guys didn't take the time, so I don't know why you want to mess with my understanding. And they go, look, but there's an error here. You can't write it like that. You know, or at least include that we don't have it like that.
Right.
Right? Or that we saw it this way or that. Fix the bomb, right? The errors that were in the bomb. They could have easily edited that, you know? But there was a lot of ego that went along with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Some of the egos from guys that were legendary writers, like Dumont. You can't tell Dumont to fix this thing. Not saying that there was something that Dumont had to fix. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't write what I was talking about right now. Right? But they weren't fixing it because it was theirs. Then there became a culture like plus lessons aren't right and exact. I remember elders telling me not to write plus lessons because that's not right and exact, or read them. While I teach, I hear them quote justice plus degree to the T. Justice is man's plus word. That's a plus lesson. That's why you can't tell me that build as your build. Or man's rewards or punishments for, that's a plus lesson. They tell me it's literally not, don't deal with plus lessons, but then they quote me the plus lesson. And you know when people used to talk about the beginnings of the universe, come on God, they was quoting the great understanding. In detail, the great understanding. So some of these plus lessons are amazing. You know what I'm saying? But they're not always grammatically correct. They could have used that. But what I'm saying is that a lot of butting heads force things to stay the same way, and then other people didn't get input when they asked to put input. And that caused more riff. You know what I mean? So you had a lot of stuff that was written and typed up, and then if there's errors, well, that's Mecca. They don't know what they're doing and they want to write up everything. That was always the case. That was what they were saying. And Mecca had an obsession with just throwing things out. I remember when I put my 120 and I was messing around at work and I put all of my 120 on one sheet. So if you ever seen 120 on one sheet, both sides, the entire 120 in columns.
Wow.
That paper is from me. So if you got that, jails have that, everything. Because I showed it to see a lot. I said, you know, God, it has some errors because I just typed it up real fast and, you know, everything, but check it out. He said, oh yeah, and he kept it, right? Man, he started mailing it out. He started making the double-sided copies and mailing it out. And I was like, oh my goodness. I didn't even do my spell check. Because, you know, back then you had to type it.
Right.
And I was like, I knew I literally spelled some words wrong. But he threw it out there. That was what Mecca was doing. They didn't really spell check things. They didn't really edit things. You know what I'm saying? So on the editing side, right and exact was not the thing. You know? That caused a lot of riff. You know?
And I think that's some of the criticism I get with this channel, right? But edit that, or don't show that, you know. So at the end of the day.
So what I'm saying, let me say about the gods and earths. It's a lot like when Firstborn Prince told me that they would get made fun of for saying Assalamu alaikum. The father told him, say peace. So that means that the father was ever adjusting things to the times. You know what I mean? And the nation, saying the nation of gods and earths though, to me the best way, 5% nation of gods and earths, is to be ever inclusive. And the reason was, and I know that people aren't really getting that many numbers when they teach. Strangers, people that just want to know what it's about, like all types of people. They might be just getting the person that really could get the knowledge, and they skip all the others. You know what I'm saying? They go right to it. So if they can't teach civilization, righteousness, death, knowledge, itself, if they can't teach all three, but I have an experience teaching people just one thing. You know what I mean? Civilization. Civilization and righteousness. Civilization, righteousness, and knowledge itself. To have an experience here teaching all three, man, that brother needs just civilization. He needs to go where he's going and just be civilized where he's at, right? They don't want the knowledge, so I just give them righteous ways of living. They don't have the experience to know that a lot of people were confusing 5% nation with Muslims. That's a fact. Yeah. That's not made up, nothing like that. And out of all the schools, nobody was saying Allah School of Medina is representing the entire world. They were expecting Allah School of Mecca to represent the entire world. That's why we ended up picking a spokesperson. You know what I mean? And mind you, people think that there wasn't disagreement, like, why you get to be spokesperson? Because there was.
There was, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as dynamic as Dumar was, and had to continue to prove it, even he felt, near the end of his life, even he felt like, man, I did all this stuff, and they still don't want to respect that I really am the spokesperson. Like, you ain't spokesperson in like I am, you know what I mean? And he was, because like, he was teaching everybody at all levels of desire, right, or insight. But when we were teaching this, it was like, what's the best name that the community would understand it easy, and not say that we're just a nation of Islam. If we say 5% nation, or we say we're 5%ers, though, some people say, oh, well, you're just Muslims, right? You're just one of the Muslims like them, but you just don't drink or smoke. Like, there's just horrible signifiers to differentiate us that we're like, no.
You must do your own research, as I did.
If Mecca did this.